Hello Helldivers. Today we got another update from Arrowhead regarding their 60-day plan. With the update today, as of recording this, marking the end of their 60-day commitment to making the game more fun again. They drop another 30-minute patch notes video. For those of you who don't want to sit down and watch the whole thing, I'm going to break down some of the bits that I found interesting. Mostly going to be to do with the weapon changes, as that's what I found most interesting to do with the update. But there is a whole host of other changes that they've included. At the beginning, they acknowledged the mistakes that they've made in balancing, quote-unquote balancing the game, nerfing the guns rather than buffing all the other weapons.
Let's go back in time and let's reimagine the time when this commitment was made. What happened, what led into it?
We could see in the period following launch that we did have some weapons that were overrepresented.
The frame of mind that they had before was they would nerf all the fun guns rather than buffing all the other weapons to bring them up to the same level as the fun weapons, quote unquote balancing.
Was that we nerfed these weapons to make the weapons, like, to balance them a bit more.
And bring them into line with the rest of the loadout.
Exactly. And in hindsight, that was maybe not the smartest thing that we could have done. What often ended up happening was that we took weapons that players loved and we made them more boring. Right?
Hopefully they keep this trajectory going forward, buffing rather than nerfing. So they talk about progression, communication with the community, armor buffs, the minimap visibility, all that good stuff. I'm going to skip over all that, so I want to get into the weapon changes that they made because that's what I'm most excited for. I'll have the link in the description to the full 30-minute video of them breaking down all the changes and the updates that they've made. So if you want to go watch that after you've watched this, then that'll be linked below. So let's get talking about the weapons. First weapons that they cover are the plasma weapons. All in all, when it comes to the plasma weapons, they've actually changed the way the projectiles handle, how fast they travel, and the speed that they drop off over distance. They don't go into the numbers in terms of how far the distance is before the weapons drop off in their projectile speed, but they just say that they travel faster, but then they also have a drop-off distance in terms of that there won't be like a bullet drop, it'll just be a speed reduction. So the biggest change that I think everybody knew about that was coming was the 101 Purifier. They have made it a Swiss Army knife, in their words, a Swiss Army knife plasma weapon. And you can now choose how you want to fire it and how you want to use it. You can charge the shot up for the big boom, or you can tap the trigger quickly, just like the Scorcher was before the patch. So with the Purifier now behaving a lot more like the Scorcher, what changes have they made to the Scorcher? The Plasma 1 Scorcher can now be set to full auto and has a slight magazine increase of only 5 extra rounds. We will see if this is enough of an increase with the full auto capabilities. I'm going to have a little play around with it just to see how I like it. I have a funny feeling I might be using the Purifier a lot more now after these changes. What do you guys think? What was when it came to the Scorcher and the Purifier, which one did you use the more? I heard a lot of people talking that they quite enjoyed using the Purifier over the Scorcher, but to me, especially when it came to bots, Scorcher all the way recently. The Punisher Plasma. Again, they don't go into numbers, but they just say that they reduced the recoil, increased the fire rate, but it's more or less in the same ballpark as it was before. The biggest changes that they made is the projectile is now faster, so it shoots straighter, but it has a more abrupt drop-off. But we'll see how, in terms of distance-wise, how it affects the lobbing of the plasma enemies. It was my go-to weapon for the longest time when it came to fighting against the bots. Now let's move on to the assault rifles. So the Liberator Penetrator, so that 5 times fast. It stayed in the same damage ranges. They didn't change anything of the numbers, but they have increased the magazine size from 30 to 45. But they did also state because they increased the per magazine bullet count, they've also reduced the amount of magazines you can take in with you, which is good because I personally felt, and they obviously felt the same, that the 30 round magazine just wasn't enough. So the Adjudicator, they increased the magazine size up to 30. I could have sworn it was a 30 round magazine before, but I must be wrong. But yeah, so they've increased it up to 30. They say they've upped the base damage to 90. I think it was 80 before. And they've also increased the double damage. This brings it up a bit more, hopefully make it a bit more usable. So the Tenderizer got a rate of fire increase from 600 to 850. You can switch the fire rate manually on the fly, just like the machine guns. They also did say across the board, all ARs got a reduced horizontal recoil, so the recoil profile stays a bit more vertical. So they just say it makes it a bit more manageable because the vertical recoil is easy to compensate for, but the horizontal just makes things a bit random. So they just made the ARs a bit more accurate. The Guard Dog, it now basically has a Liberator Penetrator on it instead of a normal Liberator. So it now has increased armor penetration as well as 50% capacity to its magazine. So basically it can shoot more and for longer, and it's also a lot more harder hitting. And with the new ability for you to be able to to recall your guard dog at any time. It just adds a little bit extra functionality to your drone. They did say that they wanted to bring all the backpacks in line with the shield generator because they noticed that the shield generator was used the most out of all the backpacks. So instead of actively nerfing the shield generator, they brought the rest of the backpacks up. The Jar Dominator, that was just moved to the special weapons category. Its functionality hasn't changed. Stim pistol, more accurate, so you can actually hit your teammates and allies that you're looking to heal. Also has an increased muzzle velocity to help actually hitting your target. The Verdict pistol has been bumped up to medium armor penetration. Its dribble damage has been increased from 13 to 32, and the stagger strength has also been increased. As a result, the Senator has now gone up to heavy armor penetration, so you can now shoot charges with them. As for how much ammo it would actually take in order to kill, we'll have to have a play around and see. Projectile damage has been also increased with the Senator, and the durable damage. It'd be interesting to see how many rounds it would take to kill a charger with just the Senator. So machine guns. So the Stalwart has had its ergonomics increased, so it's just basically better handling. The heavy machine gun and normal machine gun have both had their ammo capacity increased by 25, and the normal machine gun has had its starting magazines increased by 1. Autocannon. It has a new weapon function. It now has programmable ammunition, which allows you to switch between the normal and the flak projectiles. Flak projectiles, proximity triggered shrapnel explosives with a larger explosive radius. So they'd probably be, I think they're more designed for your flying enemies, like a group of shriekers or smaller chaff. Recoilless rifle now has programmable ammunition as well, switch between the normal projectile and high explosive. High explosive rounds have a much larger explosive radius, but deals more damage, but less projectile damage. There's so much more I didn't cover in this update to do with the jump pack, mini-map with the exosuits, grenades, enemy AI, enemy tunings. You'll have to check out the full video for that. All in all, I'm actually quite impressed that Arrowhead have managed to turn this game around, as it went from being in the gutter basically, losing 95% of its player base to now being back to where it should have been. I mean, it's good to say that the game is fun again. So one final thing I wanted to say before we go, this is the first in this type of video that I've actually made. Feedback is always appreciated though, but if I get enough positive feedback, I would look to do more of these videos. I'll have a number of Helldivers 2 videos coming out soon. One's a music video, and I'll have a few gameplay videos as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hit like for democracy, subscribe for liberty. I'll see you in the next video.